What is up, my friends, and welcome back to the Vegas Confessions podcast. This is episode 107. I'm your host, Jay.
And I'm Kelly.
We are back after another 2-week trip in Vegas. You just got back from out of town, so there's been just a lot going on. For an example, places visited. Nipton, California, where Spielgleworld bought. Buffalo Bills I stayed at. And you know my nosy ass went over to Whisky Pete and Primm to check all that out. Went over to Herbs and Rye this trip. Frankensons Pizza. My first Vegas Nights game. Container Park. This new thing, the epic Rise of Las Vegas hallway over at the El Cortez. Dawg House at Resorts World. And I also have a mention of the most consistent restaurant in Las Vegas. And this is in my opinion, but every time I go there, it's absolutely outstanding. Pizza d'Italia, FlyOver Las Vegas, Zak Bagans Haunted Museum, Splash Fresca Cafe, Rebar, Slaters 50/50, and I think I may have discovered the best item at the new Fremont Food Hall.
Nice.
Right now on the Vegas Confessions podcast. Let's go.
Hey there, everyone. This is Matt Bridger, and you are listening to the Vegas Confessions podcast.
Didn't we go to my favorite dive bar before that? We went to Double Down.
Double Down Saloon. Yeah, we had some ash juice.
I am all about ash juice. Yeah, baby.
You guys need to go check that room. There's like a dead guy in the bed. And the lady at the counter says, well, we'll call housekeeping. Like, housekeeping?
Jay's never met an asshole he didn't like. Shout out to the guy at third base at the blackjack table I was at last, who was obviously trying to keep a high-low count, but was mouthing the numbers as the cards were being turned over.
Be careful what you say, because we can have you whacked.
Hey, I'm Nicky Furmich, and you're listening to the Vegas Confessions podcast.
So before we jump into anything, we do have to start off with some Patreon shout-outs. Eric Rosenthal.
Michael Traeger from the Zortcast podcast.
David Sowell.
Scott Jarvis.
Renee Hale.
Mike Cunningham.
Taylor Jew.
Travis Atherton.
Neil Macedo.
Crybaby Vegas.
Rodney Kelly.
Scott and Lisa.
Atlantic City J.
Our good buddy Saul.
Bobby G.
Graham from the Chef Demoni podcast.
Jana Gerard.
Josh Parm.
Blaine Riff. Again, a big thank you to all these Patreon members who support us here in all of our journeys and what we do here on the podcast. You guys are awesome. Another set of shout outs I do have to give is to our friend Mark, the other me, who's been mentioning the Vegasnearme App on his live streams. Lacey, Las Vegas gal, went and hung out with her this recent trip, and we went different parts of Vegas and used the app in a video. Super fun. And she took me to a really awesome place I got to tell you about. Alex, the limo driver who's been on the podcast a couple years ago, he reaches out to me all the time to let me know people tell him that he heard him on the podcast and they love booking through him. And he's just a cool dude, went and started his own venture in Vegas, right? This guy, babe, met up with me, posted Vegasnearme placards inside of his limo behind the seats for people to see when they're in the car, you know, and they're looking for stuff to do. As he's chatting with people, he's like, Jay, this is perfect because people are always looking for stuff to do. And we are working with different people. We're going to start having an affiliate stuff with the app and stuff. But this guy's like, nope, Jay, you helped me when I first started. I want to make sure I help you. Yeah, so he's got these posted in his vehicle, driving people around every day in Las Vegas.
That's pretty
freaking
cool.
Awesome. Yeah, right? The support has been over the top. We have a friend, Travel Ruby, who mentioned us and the app on her YouTube channel recently for her February update, which was really awesome. And again, just huge thank you to the Rubies. They're cool as hell. Both of them just down to earth to hang out with. Her and Mr. Ruby, just super fun people. And Sin City family, Manny and Julie, ran into them while they were live streaming out on Fremont Street. And he was like, dude, show the stream the app, let people know about it. He knew all about it. Just a super cool guy. And if you guys see him, he's out there every night, face painted, having a good time. All the bands know him. Super cool. So just the support. And again, Jeff Does Vegas. He mentioned the app. Our buddy Graham, Chef Demoni, mentioned the app, and we've played a couple of their clips out on social media as well. It's just been overwhelming support. And right. I do have to mention these people because they make the trip that much more special, right?
Yeah, you were moving and grooving when you were out there.
Yeah,
I mean, every day you were
fun.
Meeting up with people and doing new things, making things happen. So It was a busy trip for you, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Bet you got in some fun stuff too, didn't you?
Yeah, no, it was a blast. And you know me, I never get tired of working in Vegas.
He says it's work, folks. He says it's work. And then he'll be like, oh, my friend's taking me a Vegas Knights game. It's all
Vegas Knights game is work. I have to come back and report on that for the podcast too. So, I mean, a lot of it's work, networking. It's all in the same boat.
Third job work. Is that right?
Yeah, right.
There
That's
you
go. So it was 2 weeks in Vegas. And, well, what was neat is not only were different people I was reaching out to, letting people know, hey, the app is actually live now, right? It was now available on Android, which is now a big step for us too. So we were letting people know word of mouth. I was literally the new porn card slappers out there, just passing out cards to people, talking to people on the strip downtown.
They were the Vegasnearme cards. They weren't porn cards, to be clear.
Oh yeah,
you said you were the porn card slapper.
Sure. Yeah, maybe I left that part out. Yes, I have cards, business cards. There's Vegasnearme cards with QR codes for people to scan.
Tell everybody about your cool backpack.
Yes, so I'm getting to that right now. So the main premise is just talking to people, letting people know, right? While doing social media stuff around town and stuff and creating little videos and showing people how the app works. So before I left town, I had this idea of getting one of these backpacks that displays a bunch of different stuff on the back, right? It's kind of like a screen and all this. And so looking at them in Vegas, they were super expensive. And I was like, I don't know if I want to pay that. So before leaving, I decided to check out Amazon and grab one of them. And this thing displays different, things you have set up through your phone. It runs on Bluetooth. So I decided to put the Vegasnearme app on the backpack, now available to download on Android and Apple, right? So I had that screen displaying in the back, and then another one that kind of was flashing free Vegas app, right? So while I was walking around everywhere, I was just a walking advertisement everywhere I went with this backpack. So it was pretty fun. And people were walking up to me nonstop, asking different questions about the backpack, where I got it, or just complimenting it or the app itself. So I had to get used to that because I always have headphones walking around, right? So people would come up, walk up, tap me on the shoulder. I'm like, oh shit. But no, that was really fun. Okay, so before we jump into the recap part of it, let's talk about some different topics and updates that have been going on lately in Vegas. 2 casinos just opened up. So this one was interesting because it's called Wildfire, right? And it's associated with downtown. People said Wildfire on Fremont Street, so people are thinking this place is on Fremont Street. Yeah, so it is away from everything, not on the Fremont Street experience. But what's interesting is it's ran by stations, and stations are running a promotion for the first 10 days. They're offering 10 times points on all the video poker machines and slots throughout the building,
which doesn't happen very often.
No. And so if you're a stations player, this is for you, right? So it's funny, we had a friend in town yesterday, and I was like, hey, you might want to check that place out. He's like, I might just end up over there. And he ended up at Ellis Island.
Oh
yeah, he's never been. He's like, hey Jay, I'm just texting you, letting you know I'm at Ellis Island. I think it's awesome. I'm like, cool. So very cool to hear. So what was interesting with the Wildfire place is they had a $10,000 Super Bowl props bet, where you pick 20 different props, and whoever gets the most right collects the $10,000 cash.
That's interesting.
Yeah, so that was one of their opening up promotions, which was really cool, and it just happened to be right before Super Bowl on that Friday. So that was really neat. And the other one is a Latino-focused casino, opened up last week, formerly known as the Lucky Club. And I had been sent there by Las Vegas locally to go check this place out when it was, the Lucky Club. Yeah. And now it's been turned over to the Hoyos Locos Sports Cantina y Casino. So
I like the name. I like it.
Latino focused. They have a new restaurant where they touched everything up, and it's all Mexican influenced, and locals are already loving the spot. So maybe worth taking a trip out there on the next trip. So next we head east of the Strip. You remember Virgin that opened up March 25, 2021?
They're still in business?
Yeah. Well, they just opened up their sports book, the Betfred Sports
I did hear about that. Yes, yeah.
After so long, it finally got it taken care of. But wow.
Which really, all the big casinos, they need a sports book.
Yeah.
I would guess about 30% of your clientele would be interested in sports betting. It's got to be around that number. And it's not like there's a casino right next door, right? Because it's set back a little bit. So if you have somebody staying there that wants to put in a sports bet, they really got to travel. They got to
Or have one of the apps or something,
Right.
or one of the other places.
Right.
Yeah, no, that was interesting. So if that's been holding you back from staying at Virgin,
Hey,
now
you're
you
in
can't.
business now.
Yeah, now you got no excuse.
And if memory serves me correctly, Betfred is affiliated with like Mohegan Sun, they said, or something like that, right?
Yeah.
I want to say that's what I listened to on one of the podcasts.
Yeah, because it's ran by the Indian tribe. Yeah.
I want to give a quick shout out. I was listening to podcasts for work, and Mark from Miles to Memories shouted out Jules. He shouted you out because he watched your clip on that new skill game that you recorded.
Oh, the racing
yes.
slot.
And he
Yeah,
said, Julian
that's
from
right.
Vegas Confessions,
That's awesome.
thanks for putting up the clip. So I was listening to that this week, and I thought, oh, that's really cool. So we wanted to say thank you, Mark, for shouting him out.
Those guys are really good.
Yeah.
I like what they do. Yeah, they're
Yeah.
really good. I tried to reach out to him this last trip. He was on a cruise.
Right.
So
He
when I got
goes a
back,
lot.
Yes. When I
Yeah.
got back, when I was leaving, he was getting back too. So I'm damn, next time. Yes.
He is maximizing
Sean,
all of
yeah.
his points in
Yeah.
traveling.
He
Good
knows
for
what
him.
he's doing.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So the next one I found interesting was the MSG Sphere, right? Mm-hmm. The social media team was sharing pictures a couple of weeks ago of
Right.
what it's going to look
Testing
like.
out the
right?
lights and things like that.
So they were testing out the lights. Well, one night we were driving back downtown and I happened to pass by on the freeway and I looked to my right. This thing was all red, babe. And it was like maybe midnight already.
Wasn't like just the top they lit up or something?
No, this thing was
Was it the
lit.
whole thing?
Yeah, this thing was lit. They had more screens going. The
Yeah.
first few days, they had just the top part and it was all rainbow
Yeah.
colored. Now they had like the whole side lit up. It looked like a blood moon and it was
I think that's
so
good. And
bright.
it's so massive anyways.
Yeah, it looks so cool. I was like, holy shit. Like, it was hard to keep driving and not look
Don't
like
you
it
wonder
was
what
awesome.
don't you wonder the PG&E bill is going to be, or the electric bill, wherever you're at? Yeah, that's crazy. And
It's all solar, right?
speaking of MSG Sphere, while watching the Super Bowl, what did we see yesterday?
Oh, yeah, exactly. That's right. Yeah, they finally announced that U2 will be the opening performing act. Which,
Right.
why there was speculation, I don't know where that started. They announced this a while back.
We knew that
right?
like 6 months ago,
Yeah,
right? They were
it's been
talking
out
about
for
it.
a while, yeah. So,
But
maybe
there was a lot of talk back and forth, like, would it be ready for even F1?
F1,
Remember?
yeah,
And now
yeah.
they're saying September 28th
Yeah.
it should be done, or September.
Well, and
ish.
great segue. F1 was my next topic. They originally started with like a 3-year plan for the races.
Now it's 10. I saw
crazy?
that. But it makes sense. If you're investing all this money to, building the pit and building the stands, you want longevity to get that revenue back.
Part of it goes to, did you see what the numbers are versus what Super Bowl are?
Oh, it's not even compared. Yeah,
Double,
no.
almost triple,
However, next year it'll be closer since it's in Vegas
sure,
next year.
100%.
Since
yeah,
it's in Vegas.
Yeah, Super Bowl's in
but
Vegas.
it
next
totally
year,
makes
yeah.
sense. It's as big as F1 is that we're coming to realize.
Right.
And people love to travel to Vegas anyways. This is perfect for them. And, to put in a 10-year
Yeah.
contract is great because then people can actually, book their trip a few
Right.
years out saying, I know what this is going to be on my bucket list.
Well, and it does something too. Like, imagine how fast everything went the first year, this year, right?
Right.
You knew the next couple of years it was going to be the same problem. Now people have that hope of actually getting
Right.
in to watch a race.
Ticket prices lowering
Yes.
or
yeah.
them
making
developing
it in general.
more spots to watch and things like that.
Yeah, in Vegas, I'm sure will come along and
Right.
learn what things need
Yeah.
to be adjusted. And
I'm kind of
stuff
glad they
going
did the
down.
10-year because then it gives people a shot and it gives F1 a shot to say,
Yeah.
hey, could this be a permanent fixture? So good for everybody. And it brings even more income in for Nevada.
Yeah,
So,
and the whole headquarters area over there next to Ellis Island, that's crazy. Like,
Right.
it's just so fast that everything's being built. It's
Yeah.
crazy. The last one I wanted to mention was there was filming of a new movie taking place at Aria, and it was on the
with one of
casino
my
floor.
favorite actors,
Yeah,
right?
Marky Mark.
And he's moving to Vegas.
He
Did you know
apparently
that?
has the place already. Now he's
Yeah.
a resident, but apparently by our friend Scott of Vital Vegas, he says it's called the family plan.
Okay.
But here's what I found hilarious. Our buddy Josh from the Crap Vegas podcast, he's at Vegas Duffy on Twitter. He tweeted, "There's a lot of filming going on at Aria today. Worst thing at a dice table? Hearing cheering from another table when you're losing. Second worst thing at a dice table? Hearing fake cheering from another table when you're losing."
Well,
Well said, yeah.
he's not wrong.
No, he's not
not
wrong.
wrong.
That was awesome. I laughed so hard when I saw that tweet. I was like, oh, we got to mention him. Yeah.
Yeah.
But those guys have a great podcast, and they're like, you can bet on that.
Right.
They have just craps specific. They have their strategies. These guys are awesome. They got a really good podcast.
You know what's hilarious is I've thought more than once about Mark Wahlberg because from the announcement that he was moving to Vegas, in the back of my mind, I'm like, man, if Vegasnearme like hits it big, he would be a great person to advertise because he's there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's like restaurants and everything.
Well, and it's like a hometown. I'm here now. Look, I didn't know I could do this here.
Yeah.
I didn't know I can do this in my state.
Yeah.
I've thought about that forever, but I mean, to try to get a celebrity like that would be, you know,
a reach.
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
That's okay. There's always hope, Mark, if you're listening to this podcast.
Yeah, right? Yeah. Get your people to contact my people.
I'll give you my number.
Excuse me? That's hilarious. Okay, so now jumping into Vegas, but before heading to Vegas, I stopped and stayed at Buffalo Bill's over in Primm.
Right.
This place I've always wanted to check out. It's got the roller coaster, the log flume ride. It's in between California and Vegas.
And it was a big thing that it was reopening because it had been closed for over 2 years. So people really didn't think it was going to reopen.
You know what was worse? It actually opened on the day that I came home from my last trip. So when I was driving home, I saw all the cars and I'm like, oh yeah, Buffalo Bill's reopened. Son of a, yeah. So, but yes, went back. Hilarious story.
Yeah.
I mean, so let's talk about the stay, the check-in in general, right? So I got to preface that when I checked in, I initially got checked into a room that was still being used.
Or maybe not still being used, but hadn't been cleaned.
Exactly. It was just being finished, used, whatever. Yeah. So I walk in and everything was still undone, the bed and everything. And I just kind of laugh and I thought to myself, I got to record this, right? I got to show people like this is hilarious, right? And so I showed everything, right? No big deal. I put a little video together. I put it up on social media like the next day.
Right.
Didn't think nothing of it, right?
And you were a little tired when you got there because it was a 5.5 hour drive by the time you got there.
So eventually I get checked into a room, right? After a couple keys not working, going back and forth. And I'm in the midst of a meeting, a Zoom meeting for work. So all of this is happening while I'm in this meeting, right? And so now I have to go back down to the front desk a couple different times to get my keys that didn't work. So now this is my third visit downstairs. Third time I go back, my keys don't work. I'm like, that's right. So I go downstairs and I'm like, listen, can we just get a room and keys that work? At this point, I'm 45 minutes away from where I need to go. Like, I'll just cancel it and just, you know, it's not a big deal. And she's like, no, sir, here's a room. No problem. I walk in, brand new renovated room.
Nice.
Everything was the lamps weren't even plugged into the wall fixture. Yeah, it was everything was just so new. The one thing I noticed is everything still smelled like new. Fresh paint. Yeah. Everything was brand new. Beds, everything was spanking new. And I do have to say that was unexpected because I didn't expect to get a new room. I didn't care what I got, right? So I just booked one of the cheapest rooms.
Right. It was only $50, $60,
it was $44. Okay. Came with $15 tax. So I think at the end of the day, I was going to pay something like $57, right? Something like that. Well, I go on about my business. I start discovering a little bit. I did talk to some people about the rides that were there. Everybody kept asking me right away, hey, what about the rides, the roller coaster, the log flume, right? So after talking to a couple people, they are looking to open the rides by the end of the year. They do have to do testing.
Right.
They have to get water back into the actual flume and everything going on. So that's stuff they have going on. But when it comes to restaurants and dining options, like very sparse. There's only like 3 really right now that are open. They had a steakhouse, which I think was the Wheel Wagon Grill. They had a Panda Express and a Denny's. So not very much going on food-wise.
Right.
Their casino was open, but not the table games. So the table games are only open on the weekends right now, and it's from like 11 a.m. to 10 p.m., just depending on when they have like big concert venues and stuff like that.
And they're just getting back into it. So I think as bookings pick up and things like that, they'll accommodate the changes. Like if they can get back on a normal roll, I think more things will open back up.
Yeah, no, and I will say, like, I will gladly stay there again. Besides the whole check-in issue, I didn't mind it at all. So the next morning after staying, I went to Denny's, had breakfast, started doing a little strategy on some videos and stuff. Well, I shared that video from the day prior. Then I went over, after leaving, I went over to Whisky Pete's because I'm nosy as hell, and then went over to Primm, right? Go check out what's going on. Few things had got moved around at the different properties, but the other ones, the hotels were closed. It's just the casino floors.
Right.
Not very many food options. So I ended up leaving from there, and I went over to the little town of Nipton, which was 20 minutes away. Now, this place was bought by Spiegelworld, which runs some of the Vegas shows in town, and they're planning to do like this whole Cirque-style event out in this little town in the middle of nowhere. So I had heard of this place. I decided to go check it out. When I tell you there's nothing but literal trailer homes, that's all it is. There's really nothing here to this place. There was one cafe and like a honey vending place. No stores, no nothing around this place. Why they bought this place, I have no idea why.
I'm sure it was cheap.
I'm sure it was cheap, but they're going to have to do some major building.
I'm sure they have plans.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, but it was interesting because literally, babe, I think the sign said something about 1905 or 1930s or something, but it looked like it. There was nothing there. Like, it was just nothing.
It just never got developed.
No, I was super surprised when I drove out there. I was like, yeah, I kind of had an idea, and there's some structures that people know from the internet. They look weird and stuff. Right. So I guess Spiegelworld buying it makes sense, but we'll see what they do. I found that one interesting. I'm going to be releasing a video on that one too.
So what happened on your way to Vegas?
So as I jump in the car and I'm heading back and I start heading to Vegas, my phone rings. 702 number. That's Vegas area code, right? And I look at it and I'm not thinking anything of it. And I answer it. I'm like, all right, well, hello? And the guy on the other end of the phone, he's like, hello, is this Julian? I said, yeah, who's speaking? He's like, hey, Julian, my name is Dan. I'm the general manager of Primm Valley Resorts. My response was, oh, shit, right? And he starts laughing. Like, he starts cracking up. And I'm like, hey, before you say anything, just know that I share the video and stuff, not to be facetious, but just kind of let people know. And as you can see in the video, I laughed it off, right? It's not a big deal. Like, it didn't ruin my stay. Like, that wasn't my demeanor or anything. And he's like, no. He's like, I just want you. I said, kind of what I do is I let people know about different experiences and places I check out in town. And this was just a funny story that happened, right? And it was not to be facetious. He's like, well, listen, I just want you to know I didn't like that it happened to you. I didn't like that, everything came out the way it happened. I saw that, you were going around checking out the building and the property, which I thought was really cool. He's all, I just want to let you know that the fact that it happened to you, I want to make sure you know that I'm refunding your stay, and I hope you come back to visit as our place again. And hopefully next time you come, more things are open, and I know you are interested in some of the places that we had. I said I was asking questions around. I was actually talking to the front office today. So he's all, no, I appreciate you stopping by. And next time you come, reach out to me or my manager Debbie will take care of you. I'm like, I don't need anything, but I appreciate it. And
I think that's really cool that he did, because you didn't complain. No, you didn't ask to talk to a manager. Like, wasn't anything that constituted him calling you. Right. He just obviously saw it, or somebody saw it, and they thought, we want to rectify the situation. Yes, and that's what I think that's really nice. I'm like, hey, it says a lot about you and how much passion you have for what you do to call me, someone Joe Blow out of the blue, and say, hey, I'd love to make sure we make this right. Like I said, and I appreciate it more than like it means a lot. So and I thought that was really cool, because they don't have to. It wasn't like something horrific happened or anything. Because I did play and stuff the night before, and I had lost a little, but that's besides the point, right? But yeah, for him to call it was because they didn't have to. They truly didn't have to. Awesome. You didn't ask them to. Pretty awesome. It was just them being proactive into making their customers' experience the best possible it can be. Yeah. So that does show a lot. So, and what was cool and in return is the responses and comments on social media. People were like, oh, this is Buffalo Bills, this is what they do. And some people were like, nah, I just recently stayed there. This was really nice. And some people were like, they've seen their better days, and that may be true. Right. But I'll tell you what, there was a shitload of people, from construction workers and different people passing through. Yeah, those rooms were booked. Yeah, right. They were pretty busy. And in Julian's video, he said he did forget to take video of the pool, but it's a buffalo shaped pool. Oh, yes. He said that was one of the comments, like, hey, they have a really cool pool that's shaped like a buffalo. Yes. But it was cold outside, and it was dirty too. Yeah. The pool wasn't clean. No, so because it's not open when it's that cold. Yeah. It was really cold and chilly. But no, that was a hell of a way to drive into Vegas, knowing that, hey, your stay was right. And you wish more companies would be proactive like that. And they are smaller, so it's easier to do at this point. Right. But it's a great showing of what they want their 100% their company to be like, and that's awesome. 100%. Mm-hmm. So first night in Vegas, I end up, shocker, at the Sand Dollar, right at Plaza. And I bet they had no idea who you were. No, of course not. So, but as soon as I walked in, I noticed that they had a sign that says salsa night.
$20 cover charge. I thought, what? And so I asked, you guys are doing cover charge? They're like, yeah, we just got our ticketing license, so now we're charging for certain events, just like big name events. It's not going to be every night.
Right.
So there's salsa night, right? They're like, hey, there's salsa night. It gets packed. It's a whole band, sometimes 50 members, right? The whole bands are up there. It's a bunch of people, and it gets crazy packed in here. And I'm like, are you serious? Babe, this place did not disappoint.
Really?
Plaza, Sand Dollar also did another event there called Babes and Blues. And this was basically a blues show with burlesque style dancers happening throughout this show. Right. It was freaking awesome. People everywhere. You couldn't see the floor anymore because there was money and $1 bills covered everywhere. It was so awesome. And to be happening inside a Sand Dollar. Right. I'm standing next to Aquarius, one of the hosts there at Plaza, and I'm like, I can't believe, this is happening here, right? Like, it was cool, babe. The place was packed. The people were going nuts. The dancers, they loved it. Everybody, the musicians, you can tell that they do this regularly because to the music, the girls would walk out to the beat and, they'd start undressing. It was freaking awesome. $20. And I also have to give a shout out to Sand Dollar because that same night, I paid because I wanted to go, right? For this Babes and Blues. So I went in, I paid my ticket, no problem. And the manager, named Cassie, she's like, oh, thanks for supporting. I was like, I love it here. It's no biggie, right? Then our friends Jake and Lacey walk in as I'm meeting up with them, and they come over. At this point, it's still before the cover charge time, right? So they're still early. They walk in, we start having drinks, we're chatting. Turns out Lacey and Jake know Casey, right? And so they all know each other. And she's like, oh, you know them? I'm like, oh, yeah, we're good friends, right? Well, Lacey and Jake ended up staying with me the rest of the night to watch this show, who had no intentions of staying past an hour just to have a drink with me. They stayed with me all night, watched this show. We had a freaking blast. And that's literally putting Sand Dollar into a nutshell because everybody we talk to just loves the place. Never have a complaint. I told Jonathan this past trip, hey, dude, Sand Dollar kicks ass, man. Like, it's fun. And I end up there every night. But yeah, so I've gotten to the point with them where some of the bartenders are not taking my money when I'm trying to pay for my drinks. They're like, dude, we just love that you're here every night, supporting. I'm like, I love that. Yeah, no, just cool people, easy to get in there, validate parking, get in there, get a drink, get your parking validated. Guys, you have to check out Sand Dollar. You know what I'm thinking too is because the couple nights that I was there with you and, they have the live band, it gets super packed. I'm so glad you mentioned live bands. It's a different band every night, and it's all live, good music, right? But it gets really packed in there and really early because it's gotten such a great reception. That's my only downfall with Sand Dollar is that it's not quite big enough because it's been so popular. Yeah, and especially the entrance has got that tiny. Because I thought the same thing. Yeah, and remember when you took me to Golden Tiki and. Same thing. Like, it was an awesome space, but it gets so packed so easily. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. And good for those places because, that's what you want as a business, to be popular. Right. But it's just hard to accommodate when you're so popular. No, 100%. Afterwards, took a walk over to El Cortez. I have these laps that I take on Fremont Street. I know those laps that you take. Yeah. So for some reason, he likes to walk. I love walking. Yeah. I end up down there, babe. They've done this new hallway within the El Cortez. It's called The Rise of Las Vegas, and it's basically all the old school mobsters and all the old school casinos from day one coming up and building in Las Vegas. So it has all these pictures throughout this hallway. You got Jackie Gunn, you got celebrities like Muhammad Ali, you got all these different people, El Rancho, you got all the old school spots. Right. And pictures, Stardust, and just so much cool things in this hallway. I got stuck there for about a half hour. If you're a history buff, that you fall into that because you're like, wow. And going back to history, it's all donated by the Mob Museum, which is right down the street, right? Mm-hmm. Which is smart marketing on their part because this whole hallway is laid out in pictures. And then there's these big signs that say, hey, all this stuff was donated by the Mob Museum. You want to come and see more? We're right down the street, right? It's just smart, genius marketing. Yeah. And these pictures, babe, you can get stuck staring at. They're awesome. Yeah, it probably makes it even sweeter that it's all free to check out. About an hour later, I got a text from my boss, George. Hey, you want to meet up for a late night meal at Herbs and Rye? Like, yeah. Now this place,
George is famous for late night meals.
Oh yeah, 100%. I'll think he's asleep and at home already, and he'll message me, "Hey, hungry?" Like, yeah,
Musashi.
Yeah, anything. Yeah, no, Jackson's like he loves late night meals. That's awesome. We go to this place. I had never been. I've heard nothing but great things about this place.
Yeah.
Open till 3 a.m. every single night. They got a happy hour where certain things on the menu are 50% off, and it ranges throughout the menu. But babe, I got a steak topped with like a chimichurri sauce and some mushrooms. His girlfriend Leanne had the ribeye, and George got a rib, which was topped Oscar style, which was, I believe it was crab, shrimp, and a béarnaise sauce, just all over the top with some asparagus. Picture perfect looking food. Service was outstanding. This place was kind of like a Sand Dollar, dark, smaller place, but it's hard to get into.
Yeah.
The service and the food was amazing. Like I said on the social media post, this place for me got a 10 out of 10. They nailed everything. And for me, the best steakhouse was Oscar's, like by far, because of everything that they do. This place nailed it because it's just away from everything. It's totally different than your hustle and bustle of the Strip, but still packed. No matter what time it was, this place is always packed. Like, it was super surprising. And just while walking through the place and talking to some of the staff, because George knows everybody there, right? They were like, "So how'd you enjoy everything?" I mean, you can have anything to complain about at this place. It was awesome.
So what's the price point at Herbs and Rye?
So what's interesting about you saying that is by the time you get your sides and everything, it all comes out to about the regular price. You know, your steak. Yeah, so it all does come out to about regular price, because you do have to add the asparagus and the mashed potatoes and the creamy jalapeno corn or whatever it's going to be. So, yeah, no, it does come out to about regular price. But the fact that, you know, you're getting your steak for half price, or whatever your meal is for half price, and whatever sides you add, that's on you. But still, just the fact that this deal is always there, and it turns out to be a really, really good spot, I was like, holy crap, I was blown away. Yeah, it was really good. And George's like, we only eat here like once every other month. Like, it's really good. Like, but he's also, it could be a little pricey too. Yeah, but it was really delicious.
Well, most steak places in Vegas are a little pricey for the, you know, the 4 stars, you know, whatever restaurants.
Yep, 100%.
You know, if it's a good steak, you're going to pay for it, basically.
So the following day, while working on the Strip, I wandered inside of New York, New York. They have a new Starbucks that they added over towards the lobby area. But I went there for a specific reason, knowing that, hey, it was my lunch break and I had a little time to kill. So a couple of months ago, they added this new slot machine that has a steering wheel on it, and you race in the bonus game. And depending on how you finish in the race is how much you win, right? So I played it for a little bit. It didn't help that I started getting bonuses right away. I got stuck on this thing for a little bit, and it was like a Mario Kart slot machine style game. It was fun. It was fun. And I put a little video together, and that's the one that you were talking about with Sean from Miles to Memory. But I just put a video together saying, hey, would you guys play this, and showing them how it plays. A bunch of people were like, hell yeah, I'd play that slot machine. It was fun. It was really fun. Yeah, it was pretty fun. It was called Rich and Reels. Yeah, it's a slot machine game with the steering wheel that you get to drive in the bonus game. Yeah, so there's one at New York, New York, and there's another one over at the Strat. So now we're going to chat about the cheapest pizza deal on the Las Vegas Strip and the best pizza deal you can find in Las Vegas. So the cheapest pizza deal is at this place that I mentioned earlier, Pizza d'Italia, located in the Miracle Mile Shops area up in front of the Rainforest Cafe. They have 2 slices of cheese pizza and a 16-ounce soft drink for $5. So you know my ass, I had to try it, right? Yep. So I go, I try it. It's exactly what they say. I was like $5.40 with tax. I go, I sit down in the Panda Express area and try this food. It was tangy. It was it wasn't the best looking. And I would say Little Caesars tops them easily, right? It wasn't maybe like a next step above a frozen pizza. Yeah. Like it was kind of that tier, but it wasn't bad for $5. I think I said, well, it hit the spot. No. Will it do the job? You know, if you've been drinking all night, yeah, like that, it's one of those meals. But yeah, $5, 2 slices, and
or if you've lost all your money at the table or the slot machine, you can still eat. You're not going to starve.
Yeah.
You can get that and a soda for $5. So, I mean, you will survive.
But the better of the pizza deals is over at Ellis Island, one of our favorite places. They have Metro Pizza inside, and on Thursdays, they have a 2-for-1, and this goes for the whole pies or the slices.
Right.
And I went in there. I got 2 pepperoni slices and a 32-ounce fountain drink for $6.30. Now, this is every Thursday. It's all the time. This pizza, though, is some of the top pizza in Vegas. It's really good stuff.
And Metro Pizza is popular because they compete at the festivals.
Yeah, no, yeah.
So it's not like
it's not
just,
a knockoff. No, it's a really good pizza chain. It's family owned and operated, and they're all throughout Vegas, like you said. Yeah, no, it's a really good pizza, Metro Pizza. They do a damn good job there. So,
and Ellis Island is just a great place.
And yes, again, it's 1 block off the strip, guys. Ellis Island, like we just said, our friend went there last night, and I'm super excited to talk to him tonight.
So it surprises me that Shant goes there because he is a high roller.
Yes.
And Ellis Island is a great place, but not necessarily a high roller place. You know what I mean? Yes. Not necessarily that. But it's still a great place. Like if you just want to go enjoy yourself and have a great time, Ellis Island is awesome. Yeah. And all their food places are just top notch.
Yeah. No. All right. So the next place I'm going to mention, I have been to multiple times. I think I've just discovered the best item in the Fremont Food Hall. This is my sleeper pick for 2023 for any of you guys who end up at Fremont Food Hall. You have to order this and try this. And you can reach out to me and let me know what you think. This is the chicken sandwich over at Roli Toti. This is a rotisserie chicken place that they have inside of the food hall. And this sandwich is only $9, right? So I decided just one night on a limb, I'm going to try it. I haven't tried this place. I've tried the noodles. I've tried the steak and shake. I've tried the Huey Magoo's. The only one I haven't tried was the Craft Kitchen because it's only open early, right? So I've tried pretty much everything. This sandwich blew everything in that food hall out of the water, okay? The Brussels sprouts that came with the sandwich were huge, seasoned perfectly, cooked perfectly, and I did not expect this from this little place, right? What's even more mind-boggling to me is this place never has customers. It's that good that nobody knows about this place yet. Last week, Norma Helly, the YouTuber, she went there and talked about the place too. But this place is really good. They have this dipping sauce that comes with your sandwich and your Brussels sprouts. I don't know which part it came with, but this shit's delicious. Okay? It's spicy. It's orange.
It's like a honey mustard-ish?
No. It's like a chili. I was dunking my Brussels sprouts into this stuff and eating it. This lady walks by me and she's like, "What did you order?" I said, "This is the chicken sandwich at this place." Her family and her husband were over at the Steak and Shake over getting burgers. She was like, "I think I'm going to grab that." I was like, "It's delicious. You can't go wrong." I'm like blown away and surprised on how good it is. She ordered the same exact thing I had with the Brussels sprouts. They sat on the table next to me, right? All 4 of them. They sat on the table next. Her husband ate half of her food. He was like, "This shit is so good." I looked back over. He ate the last of the Brussels sprouts too. He was dipping like me into the sauce. He was like, "Dude, we're from Hawaii. This was not only fresh. It got that kick. It's got air." He was like, "Dude, I feel like I could hug you right now for just recommending this to my wife." And I was like, "That's awesome." No, but they loved it. It was really good. I was surprised. The bread, super soft, the arugula, lettuce, everything that went into the sandwich was just perfect. Yeah. I was like, holy shit, $10.
Now, are they a sandwich place or they just have sandwiches with the rest of their menu?
They're a rotisserie chicken place.
So all kinds of chicken and that's a sandwich.
So they pulled like fresh pulled chicken for the sandwich.
Right, that's what I was thinking.
Yes, it was really good.
What's that sandwich place that I really like that we went to, remember?
Earl Sandwich?
Yes. And so that I'm thinking like...
That's more like a fast food,
Right, but when I'm thinking great sandwich, I'm thinking Earl of Sandwich, you know, as in comparison to your chicken sandwich.
Yeah, no, fast food wise, the Earl Sandwich is a good sandwich. The food hall places seem to be more of like a business establishment that can be found at a place, not necessarily in a food court,
right?
Like a fast food, like a Popeyes, or you know, like a Nathan's or something like that. So
so it's good to know they have other things in sandwiches that you can try. That's really
God, it was delicious.
Can hit the spot because some people want a good place, but not necessarily a sandwich.
Well, and it was cold that week too, so I was like, the noodles the night before were really good too. So
what's it called again?
Roli Toti.
And it's spelled differently.
Chicken.
And it's spelled different.
Yeah,
it's
Roli and then Toti. Yeah, it's really weird. But yeah, this place absolutely blew me out of the water on how great it was.
So go down to Fremont Casino and try it.
Yeah, no, I've been down there. Like I said, it's pretty cool knowing that that's there because
what's funny is
like
you
$10.
always take that lap.
Yes.
So now you have a spot to stop every time you take that lap and come before you come back.
No, 100%. So another place I have to mention is called Bin 702. This place is located within the Container Park downtown.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so a lot of people know about the Oak and Ivy place. This place is like a bar. It's got all these craft cocktail specialty drinks, right?
In Container Park?
In Container Park. And Container Park, if you haven't been, just got all kinds of different shopping, restaurants.
And it's open certain hours. Because remember the one day...
Yeah, it's like 11 to like 9 or 10 or something. Yeah, later on the weekend, something like that. I don't know off the top of my head. But they have all this different stuff you can do within the Container Park. And there's shopping areas, like little antique stores. There's all kinds of stuff. It's freaking awesome. Well, I noticed this place, Bin 702. It was packed every time I went in there. I went in Container Park twice while I was there for work. So the second time I went there, I decided to look around a little bit. This place also has a 3 to 6 p.m. happy hour every single day of the week, right? The beers are like $2.50, $3.
That's why it's packed.
Here's where it gets even more interesting. This place got a cool vibe. It's got an awning on the front area. People are hanging out up front. So besides the cheap drinks, I watched this guy. They have all this food and stuff that you can order and stuff.
Right.
So I watched this guy get a sandwich delivered to him that was coated and deep fried in hot Cheeto crumbs.
Oh, geez.
It was one of the weirdest things I've seen.
Right.
But I was so intrigued that I have to go back and do this. Like, I was really interested. The guy, I watched him bite into it and he looked at me and and he knew why I was looking at him. He's like, dude, it's fucking good. Like, I hate to say it, it's fucking good. I'm like, really? He's like, it's good. It's really, I'm like, what'd you get? He's like, I got the club. He's like, hey, I saw that you deep fried it in the hot Cheetos that's on the menu. And it was like $2 more. So I said, why the hell not? And he's like, I'm glad I did it. And he's like, I was like, are you? I've never seen that.
I've never
super cool.
heard of it.
Yeah. So I'm going to be making my way back for that. Yeah. That was interesting to me. So Bin 702 over in the Container Park. Nice. Worth a visit. Yeah. Oh yeah. So you mentioned earlier going to a VGK game. Now this one just happened off stance because of our buddy Shant that we mentioned. He asked me one night, hey Jay, you want to go to a Vegas Knights game? In the back of my mind, I'm trying to play it cool, like, let me think about it, right? I'm thinking to myself, hell yeah, let's go. So I tell him, like, dude, I've never been. Like, hell yeah, I'd love to go, right? So we go, and I don't know what to expect. Right. As you mentioned, he's a high roller, so we head over to Circa. We get into the limos. We get taken over to the T-Mobile. We go into this place, babe. We're now in the suites area, and they ask us, or they tell us that, you know, they usually switch with, like, the other 15 people there's about 30 people that went. Half of the game or every other period, the people will switch with who sits in the front area by the glass right there with Derek Stevens. These are all his seats and stuff, right? So, and then some people stay back up in the suite, and then other people go into like wherever they want.
Right.
This game was against the Washington Capitals. Washington's in town. They're without their best player, which is Alex Ovechkin. He's one of the best hockey players, right? So everybody's thinking he's going to play. He doesn't play. No biggie. I want to cover some really key moments that happened throughout this game. They had this little girl there named Annabelle. She was in Vegas all week that I was in Vegas. How I caught upon this story was while putting videos in for Vegasnearme, right?
Yeah.
This little girl, they had a little thing going on with Make-A-Wish Foundation.
Right.
She became a hockey player for the Golden Knights, right? For the week.
Yeah.
So this game I went to, she was the one doing the horn that they do at the beginning of the game, right? And so they had her on the ice. So the whole week leading up to everything, she was training with the team, right? Out on practice. She was fighting with the hockey players and stuff. Just super cool. Well, they had her out there that night for the main night, and they asked her, they're like, so what was your experience like playing with the Knights, you know? And she's like, I'll never forget this, right? And at the end of this, they did this chant where they basically start putting on the Jumbotrons, you know, sections start cheering, this section start cheering. So it's basically this section start cheering, then this section, upper section, lower sections, right? So then they go to like visitors, tourists, locals. When the thing said locals, babe, the whole place blew up in loudness and just roar because everybody was a local. It was so cool. It was electrifying. Everything that was going on in this place. There was just so much going on within the hockey game. And the mid-time shows, everything they were doing was just a show within the game. It was just a lot going on. And I told Sean, I was like, dude, we have to come back. Like, I have to bring the family to do this because this was just fun. It was probably one of the most electrifying experiences I've seen in Vegas. Like, it was packed. The vibe was nuts. People were going crazy. They won 6-2. Like, it was crazy, the hype that everybody was afterwards, leaving the place. I mean, it was freaking a blast. Yeah. I've never been to anything like that, and I was like, holy shit, we got to do this again. It was cool. So if you haven't been to a Vegas Knights game, I highly recommend it, even if you're not the hugest hockey fan. Right. The people that I went with, one of the friends, she's like, I don't even really dig hockey. I like football. She could not stop yelling the whole freaking match. She was like, this is awesome. Like, they were going to fight. She was screaming, like, they were into it. And it was fun, and it was just nice to do something different. Right. So Vegas Knights hockey game, definitely check it out. And my biggest thing was the ticket prices. They were always so high, so I always stood away. Right. But now I'm learning on certain nights, they're not so expensive depending on the team. So if you are in town on a certain night, definitely just peek at them. Just check. See if it pique your interest. If it's something you can afford, I recommend it. You won't find anything like it. It's pretty awesome.
That's awesome.
So one of the following days, I wanted to test the Resorts World paid/free parking they have going on. So if you don't know, guys, all you have to do is get a player's card. You get a Genzine Rewards player's card. They have a little kiosk next to where you're going to pay your parking fee when you're leaving the parking garage. It's a little black box. It says Players Rewards Card. All you got to do is scan your card. You're in and out. So I went to do like a little video to test it out. So I went with the intentions of putting like a little video together showing people, hey, this is how you avoid, this is how you avoid paying for parking here. So as soon as I got there, I got my player's card. I put $20 in the slot machine, $140, right on the first spin bonus. Like, this is sweet already. Left that machine, went to go look for something to eat. Typically, when people are looking to grab something to eat, they go to the food court over at Resorts World, right? The famous food area. I didn't do any of that. So I ended up over at Dawg House, which is over by the sportsbook area. And they have like this grilled cheese place that's inside the Mouse House, I think it was called. But Dawg House, they have this whole menu, and it's all dog-friendly featured, right? So everything on the menu. So I asked the server, well, what do you recommend? She's like, my favorite's it's like a Western burger, right? That's the easiest way to give you an idea of what it's like. So I was looking at one that was spicy, and the one I was looking at was called the Poodle, right? I'm like, what do you recommend? She goes, I recommend the Rottweiler. It's got like this bacon jam, and it's got these huge chunks of bacon, and she's like, it's just really good. It's got all these onion rings on it, and she's like, you'll love it. It's really good. The meat, she's like, well, it doesn't matter what burger you order. Like, the really fat meat, they're really good. And she's like, you can't go wrong. I said, I'm thinking poodle, but you decide, right? And so she's like, all right, done. She takes off, right? She comes back with the one that she recommended, which was called the Rottweiler. Babe, this burger was so damn good. It was $18. I had no idea. I've never eaten there. Right. This food was so good. I bite into this burger, right? It's already a fat piece of meat that you know you're getting. It's like a pound burger. It's huge. It's huge. I bite into the bun. She wasn't exaggerating with the chunks of bacon. Yeah. It was like huge pieces of bacon, not bacon bits. It was thick. Oh my God. This burger, I was full. I was super happy that she picked that one. And I told her, I was like, hey, you're absolutely right. I don't know what man thinks a poodle's okay. Yeah, I shouldn't have a poodle. I should have a Rottweiler type of guy. She started cracking up. Like, I was like, no, seriously, thank you. That was really, really good and surprisingly good because I had never been to the place. Right. And they have so many food options in there, right? Nobody talks about this place at all. I've never heard it mentioned. So I was super excited that I got to try that place. And again, all paid for by the slot machine. There you go. It was a win-win. But yes, free parking. All you got to do, get your player's card, scan it on the way out. You don't have to pay anything.
Yeah.
So next, I went over to the place that went viral last month, Frankensons Pizza. This place did not disappoint. As good as the guy mentioned, as good as everybody said, the wings were outstanding. I spent $50 just to try a few different items. I ordered a pizza, I ordered meatballs, and I ordered wings. Every single thing that I tried there was freaking delicious. And what was even better is sitting right behind me was the owner, Frank. He was talking to the coaches from UNLV, the men's and women's coach. He was checking on every single customer that was in there. Where are you from? Where'd you hear about us? And it was funny. I overheard him tell the coach that they went from 44 followers to 600,000 in a week. Yeah, he was. And
you said just the nicest guy, right?
A sweetheart.
Yeah.
I finally made my way back in. After, the line started coming in, I put my food in the car. I went back in to talk to him and let him know, not about the food review, just to kind of let him know about the app and how we're showing his business and the video that, Keith Lee put out and how it's in there and showing his place. And he loved it. He loved it so much. His first response to me was, Jay, how much is all this going to cost me? I'm like, no, this don't cost nothing. It's free, man. And he's like, well, how do we get you guys posted up in the building? At that moment in time, he's like, you need to come back and put some business cards in my business. And I love what you guys are doing. This is awesome. He was an absolute sweetheart. This guy was awesome. Yeah, no, the food was, and I'm not saying that because
double win.
It was, I went to this
food,
place.
Great guy.
I'm not exaggerating when I tell you I went to this place 3 different times in this same trip. It was that good.
That's awesome.
Yeah, like I said, spent $50, left super happy. So let's talk about this next place I visited. It was called Starburst Parlor. This was a little coffee and bakery shop. What was interesting about it is all keto-free, sugar-free, gluten-free stuff, right? And I went here with Lacey on the day that we went and did the video. She's like, Jay, you got to check this place out. It's in the downtown area. This place is super uniquely themed. It's like all 80s theme. It's all pink inside. It's got all like this retro, like phone and all just this old theming decorations. Right. It's awesome. But not only did they have really, really good pastries, like I've never had anything like this, right? I got a coffee and I got what was called the carrot cake cupcake. Lacey got a cinnamon roll, right? Yeah. We loved everything we had, but Lacey said they also do like pizza and stuff, dinner menu items, and they do a really good job. So if you're into that kind of food, like this is the place for you. But not only the service, the owner was super cool. We walked in and we're like, hey, we're just shooting a little video showing people places to check out in town. And she was like, really? Like, you guys came to my place? Guys, your coffee's on me. Like, super. Yeah. Very super nice. Yeah. I mean, I love when that happens. And we didn't know her from Adam and Eve, right? It was awesome. It was really cool. And again, just super different and just hella cool. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, definitely a little different place to get away from everything. Again, this is all about getting away from the hustle and bustle sometimes. So yeah, getting to see something like this that the locals love and the perspective of a local was really, really fun. My next venture took me over to FlyOver Vegas. I was looking for something to do one afternoon, had free time, and I'm like, you know what? Let me look up something to do. Looked up what was around me on the Vegasnearme App, and while I was looking, I was like, you know what? I saw this. I want to check it out. Right. While walking there, I booked my tickets on the way, right? So I got in, walked in, did 2 different exhibits. It totaled like $60. One was Iceland and the other one was called Windborne, which is kind of like over the Rockies of Canada. Mm-hmm. So a huge screen. You're in these chairs where you're with 20 other people and you guys are just flying over different parts of the world. There's Vegas. There's all kinds of different stuff. It's awesome. It's super cool. What I like about it is you can do this with the family. If they're little, they're probably not going to be, there's a height limit, but this is something that you can do with kids, hands down. I saw so many families there. Something different versus, the shows that are in town. This was just like immersive, the smoke and the smells, like I told you, the mist every time you go through clouds and stuff. Like it was pretty cool. And these were some of the newer shows that they've added. Right. They're always adding something new to their stuff. Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Because remember, you called me and you talked about it, and Julian has never been to California Adventure, the Soarin' Over California ride. So I was describing that, and I think it's kind of similar.
Yeah, it sounds like the same.
Yeah, and and Soarin' Over California is super cool. Like, and I'm not sure if that ride's still there, but it was really cool because it has, you know, like when you in Soarin' Over California, when you go over like the valley, you could smell the oranges, like when they went over the trees.
That's what you
but
smell,
it's kind of like the same experience, and it's just super cool because you feel like you're actually flying and seeing these things. Yeah. And when you're in that, what is it, IMAX or 4D? It's pretty cool.
It's huge.
And so that's not bad for two different ones.
Yes. And it lasts. You get like a little pre-show before you go into the main show, and then you go in this walkway where they kind of set you up and get you organized. But yeah, it was.
It's like 20-30 minutes per experience?
In total, maybe the video is maybe 10, 15.
Yeah, that's what
and then you have like a 5-minute video before that.
Right.
So yeah, in total, maybe 20, 25 minutes. But yeah, it's easy in, out.
Right.
Yeah, super cool. Super fun. What I liked about it too is I always have my backpack. The seats under the bottom, they have these
where you can put the things.
Yes, I love that. Because if you're like me and somebody who's always wearing a backpack, that can be something that can prevent you from doing stuff like this, right? Because they don't allow that, or you have to buy a locker, just stupid stuff.
Yeah.
Another really awesome spot that I checked out, Splash Fresca Bar over at the Flamingo. This place just got added. Now, when we go to the remate, the flea market, right? Or even the fairs and stuff, they'll have all these big containers full of drinks.
Right.
Jamaica or chata, right? All these different ones, cucumber. This one that's inside of the Flamingo that just opened, it's right inside of the walkway of the Link Promenade, right? Well, this place, the first night I went, they hadn't even got their liquor license yet. And it was like coming the next day or that night of. So when I went to go check it out. They didn't have any alcohol. It was just kind of just the drinks.
Right.
So I got a drink. I was like, yeah, I want to try one. I got their strawberry lemonade, again, without alcohol. Super good. I ended up going back the following night to go see if they got their stuff, and they did.
Yeah.
I went back, and the lady saw the post from the night before. It's like, nope, on the house. I love that you gave us a shout out. So, yeah, she gave me the drink and the shot for free. Yeah, this place I see thriving, especially during like the summertime.
Right.
I mean, they have the big drinks. It's like a 32 ounce and you can refill it, I think, when you go back for a cheaper price than the regular price. But yeah, super unique spot. I was like, holy crap, this is going to be a spot that I could check out more often. Another unique spot to check out in the Arts District, this place is called Rebar. What I loved about this place, it's not your typical bar you walk into.
Right.
Everything that's in this place, from the Steiner mugs that are hanging from the ceiling to the pictures and the art and the lights and to everything that's in this building is for sale. There's a price tag on every single item that's in this place.
Yeah,
pictures,
that's interesting.
art. Yeah, it's super cool. They do another thing where mystery shots and mystery beers, right?
Okay.
So it works two different ways. With the shots, there's bottles that are covered in brown paper bags and they're labeled 1 through 6. The same thing with the beers. They're in the fridge and they're labeled 1 through 6. The way you pick is you roll a dice, and whatever number roll, that's the one you get, right? So the mystery shots, I think, were $3, and the drinks, beers as well, $3. And people were ordering these nonstop. Then you go outside in the back, babe. They have all these games, like a huge Connect 4, you know, that game where you slide the thing across the table. There's stickers everywhere. There's art everywhere. There's pictures, like I said, more you can buy. This place also has like an old school Burger King drive-through sign. Like, yeah, it's just nothing like you ever see in town. Well, so another really neat thing that I caught about this one is it's working with the business next door. It's called Davies. So when you order food at this place, it's made by the Davies place next door. So if you order food to go, so they have signs everywhere that say, follow the red lights to pick up your food. Throughout the building is this string of red lights that go through the building all the way through the outside of the back of the place and leads into the next door neighbor's area for you to get and pick up your food. It's just unique. There's board games that you could sit there and play Battleship or Monopoly, whatever you want. There's arcades. It's just a super fun, different atmosphere, and locals absolutely love this
I know
place.
you were impressed because you're like, this was cool.
I went back twice.
Yeah.
I went back twice just to kind of check it all out.
Right.
The first night it was packed. You couldn't even get to the bar. I went the following day and the bartender was like, weren't you here last? I was like, I was. I couldn't even get to the bar or just sit down or check it all out. I wanted to come while I was a little slower. And she's like, I thought I saw you. I was like, yeah, this is unique. She's all, there's just so much going on in this place. Like, yeah, you're right.
A lot
though.
to take in.
Yeah, it's super fun. I love places like that.
Yeah.
By the way, that bartender made a hell of a Bloody Mary. Boy, it had a kick, man. Whew. So the next venture takes me to Slaters 50/50. This is home of a $100 whale burger that this place is known for. So they have 2 locations. The one I went to was on Lake Mead. I met up with our friends Jennifer and David. Now, the whole theme of this place is the whale burger. If you want to order that whale burger, that's $100. You got to find the QR code in the restaurant.
Right.
That's at the original place that's over on Silverado Ranch, right? And so that's in South Vegas. This one that I was at didn't have that. It just had one big QR code, a picture of a whale in the building. So when I got in, the first thing I did, I was like, all right, I put my phone down. I'm like, all right, guys, I'll be back. I'm going to go look for this whale, right? And they're like, what do you mean? So I started walking around and I couldn't find it. And I asked the bartender, you guys don't have the secret menu whales around the building? He's all, no, that's just at the other location. I'm like, oh, he's all, how'd you know about that? I was like, oh, dude, I knew about it. Like, I'd been wanting to visit these for a while. Yeah, so that's the neat concept with the other one on Silverado Ranch.
Right.
But this place is known for their burgers. They do really, really good food. While we were there, we had, the fried pickles. We had their tater tots that came with like a Tapatio ranch. We had their fried mac and cheese balls. And then I tried their chili burger. Freaking delicious. Everything we had, I think Jennifer got the turkey burger. Dave got a bacon burger that was just overloaded with bacon. Like, it was just so good. Price point was great. And again, one of those places that's off the strip, not packed with people. Never gonna, be in a crowd of people at these places, which I really, really enjoyed.
Yeah.
A lot of this stuff was just, hey, different, first time. And I noticed right off the back, like, oh man, these are places that a lot of people don't go to. So yeah, it was really cool to visit that place. Well, my last experience in town has to be labeled the scariest attraction in Las Vegas.
Uh-oh.
This was the Zak Bagans Haunted Museum. I had seen a lot of different videos about this place. I have heard a lot about this place. There's a lot going on with this place.
Almost went too. Remember a couple times they were like, it's going to be a while.
We did. And the interesting thing about it is so the price point. The price point is $40. Okay. But if you're going to do what's called the RIP package, where you get access to like extra rooms in different parts of the building, it's $80. And that includes a lanyard and a t-shirt at the end of the experience. This tour lasts about 2.5, almost 3 hours. So getting your money worth is not a question.
Right.
What's super unique about this place is, for me, if I'm being honest, I kind of felt like the tour guides were doing a little more of the stories to kind of scare you a little more, right? But I expected that. I had seen the videos. I knew about this. But what is pretty neat is there's stuff in here that you don't get to see at certain places. Example, they have this one area where it's just graphic photos of a guy that used to do certain things to his victims, right? And it really does go beyond that, between like just weird room possessed dolls, Dybbuk boxes, and just different things where are known to have curses and stuff and carry bad juju, right?
Right.
Some of the parts that blew me away that I found really interesting is there was stuff in there by like guy John Wayne Gacy and Charles Manson and Richard Ramirez. Like, they had some of their memorabilia sitting in these rooms, or a vehicle where people were actually murdered in, and just different stuff. Or the main one for me was mind-blowing is the bed. So this bed that we're talking about, this is the same bed that Lamar Odom had an incident at this brothel at, and almost had a heart attack. He said that eventually that he tried to say he was drugged and stuff, right? So he had to be emergency rescued by people. So it became a story because Lamar Odom was at a brothel.
Right.
Well, also, this is where the owner of 7 brothels, respect, Dennis Hoff. Yeah, he actually died in this very same bed in his sleep at the Love Ranch in Crystal, Nevada. So not only is that crazy, but this very same bed is in the house there at Zak Bagans Haunted Museum. And there's just the storyline of every, and if you know about these stories and stuff, like, it's really weird. But yeah, that bed is in there. There's some very interesting stuff about that place. And yes, I think worth the $40. Yes. 80, I don't know. Right. I don't think so, because I mean, yeah, I got to go in a little basement and do a little circle around something and come back up. I went into a couple different rooms where you see a few different things that everybody else can't. And then they try to make you feel a little special. Where's my RIP, right? Go in the basement. I hope you come back. Stuff like that, right? But I don't know if it's worth 80. Right. Maybe just go in and spend the 40 and buy a shirt and walk out with $60. But I mean, yeah, it was very interesting though, because I am into that kind of haunted, scary, but did I get scared? No. And maybe because I've seen videos and knew what to expect a little bit, but I didn't ever feel scared. Yeah. And
there was paranormal activity going on.
No. But I did notice they're doing something really cool where it's like a flashlight ghost tour where you can go and tour the whole mansion at night, unoperating hours with a flashlight, and you and your friends, and just go tour the whole place, and you're on your own basically. And like, that does sound pretty interesting. That was by yourself. Yeah, no guides. Yeah, no guides. Yeah. So no, I found that one, but yeah, I wanted to check that out because that's something I think
it's always been on our maybe list.
Yeah. So and I mean, even ghost towns and stuff like that, I've always been interested in. So who knows? We may do more of this stuff down the road. But yeah, $40, yes. 80, no. Yeah. That's all I'm gonna leave that at. There's other people there too, but like they're like, I asked them, did you get scared? And they're like, no. I kind of felt like there was a lot going on. Like that's what's going on, is so many different rooms that you're like, holy shit. Like you leave one and you're like, wait, what did he just say? This is happening now? So yeah, the Haunted Museum, I'd say check it out. I'd say if you're into stuff like this, yes, check it out. I messaged a couple friends and they're like, no, I wouldn't do that. I don't want to bring any, bad juju with me back to my house. And I understand people are like that too. So they don't.
Some people believe that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
We don't really have a belief system one way or the other. We're just kind of, go with the flow.
I was born up. So.
And I still love you.
Yeah. I don't know what's wrong with you. So I do want to mention one person in particular before we go. The very last day I went to check out a potential place we're going to be staying in down the road, if it all works out. But I wanted to give a big shout out to Wayne. Wayne's reached out to me. Yeah. He's a listener of the podcast. He owns some places in Vegas. He's reached out to me last year. He's heard, we're interested in coming out.
Super cool and super nice too. Because we don't know what we're doing,
Not that we don't know what we're doing. It's just we don't know where to start. Yes. And this guy was like, hey, Jay, I have this available. This is the address. Go look at it if you're interested. And I went and saw it. It's in Summerlin. I'm like, holy shit, this is perfect, right? So hopefully everything works out. But again, it's a kudos to you listeners of this podcast and
super
the people,
nice
the connections we make.
Out, yeah.
I mean, shit, this is awesome. Yeah, right? Like, again, I can't appreciate you guys enough. You guys are awesome.
Thank you.
Wayne, shout out to you. Yeah. And again, the last thing before I left town, started snowing. Yeah. I think that was my sign to get the hell out. Yeah. Snows in the desert. Take your sign.
Yeah. Bye.
No, this has been fun. I'm glad we got the recap finally done. We're going to be turning around and coming right back with George, who's the creator of the Vegasnearme app, and he'll give you the background of the story and how he got the idea, which it's all a pretty interesting story, and it all pertains to Vegas and lines right up alongside this podcast. So you'll see why it all came hand in hand. I appreciate you guys for hanging out with us this week. We got plenty of more stuff, and to all you Patreon people, by the way, new episode went out specifically for you guys yesterday. Check out the Patreon side where you guys are going to get my top 5 recommendations and must do in Las Vegas for 2023. But what happened, Kelly?
You added 8 more. So it's top 13. Top 13.
It just kept going.
He said, my intention was 5. Yeah. But I ended up with 13 at the end. That's how much good stuff Vegas has to offer.
That's it. That's what I said. It's like there's so much stuff.
Right.
But my friends, appreciate you hanging out. Again, check out the YouTube side. Videos coming out of all this stuff. And until next week, we will catch up with you soon. Cheers.
Cheers.